A warm welcome to the most beautiful chess problems of all time. Here we have a study by Betting from the year 1905. White to move, and white can also win the game. And yes, we have a pawn mower here, but there just isn't a really good pawn advance in this position. So with that, I'd say pause the video now to try and find the solution yourself. And if you let the video play now, then I'd say just subscribe to my channel to see more chess studies like this one. And now, let's just get started with the solution. The first thing that might come to mind is to say, okay, we can sacrifice one or two pawns here as long as we manage to create a passed pawn. So we would now throw away this pawn with g4, and with h6 we would also let this pawn be captured. But now we have a passed pawn here. The problem is black is just a bit faster with their passed pawn, and yeah, that's just not going to end well for us. We've messed up the game. A quick note in between, if you enjoy the most beautiful problems of all time, you can now find all new videos on my main channel. There you'll find all the new videos with synchronized audio tracks in your language. Nothing changes for you except that the background is now dark purple, and we're analyzing this wonderful problem by Herbstman and Kubel, which, by the way, is award-winning. You'll find the link in the video description and in the pinned comment. I'd be happy if you come over and check out the most beautiful problems of all time on my main channel. But for now, let's continue with the current video. The second idea that you might consider could be to say, okay, we have our king right here on the board, and it's our move, so let's just go ahead and support our pawns as best as we can. The problem is, though, that black can also support their own pawns here in a similar way, so black arrives just in time to control this important square. So pushing the pawn forward isn't possible. And if, as white, we still dare to push the pawn here, well, congratulations. You've lost the game as well. Okay, so in this position, it's not about pushing the pawn or the king. It's not after f2 either. So what could the right move be? There really aren't that many options left. And yes, we probably have to move the king somewhere else then. And the correct move is king to e1. Why not king to e2? I'd say let's postpone that a bit, we'll get to it later. But first, let's take a look at how things continue here. Black plays king to g2, bothering this pawn for a moment. And yes, if we as white don't react now, then it's gone. And then things just don't look good. That's why now comes the advanced g4, the pawn, yeah, it just gets captured. And what do we play now? f5. We're trying here, so to speak, to advance with both pawns, hoping that one of them will make it through. What will black do? g3. And now we push forward with one of the two pawns, f6 or h6, which is the right one. Feel free to pause the video here again. If you thought it might be h6, well then unfortunately you only get a draw, because as we can see here, black can play king to h1. Black may be the second to finish this pawn race, but in the end he still gets the queen. And that's a drawn position, or actually here white still has to fight a bit for the draw. Exactly, unfortunately not a win. A quick addition from the editing room, I noticed that I covered king to g2 here, and that's absolutely fine. Everything I showed there is perfectly fine. But for the sake of completeness, it should be mentioned that king to h2 is also quite a reasonable option. It's a very natural option. And the variation is different, so I'll show it now as an addition. So if black plays king to h2 here, then with white we have to play king to f2 to defend the pawn. And if black plays something like king to h3, we now play king to f3. And the small difference is that now black is in Zugzwang. So the pawn can't move here, and the other pawn can't move anyway. And this king now has to move again. And now black plays king to h2 here. And because of that, the pawn advance g4 can succeed. And yes, exactly. So here it just simply trades off. And after something like king to g2, white is already winning quite a lot in this position here. So you can play king to g5 here. You can start directly with f5. Even h6 would win here. So practically everything wins here. And with that, back to the original video. But what is actually the difference if f6 is played here now? Black captures the pawn, And yes, why is this suddenly better for white? Well, black can no longer move their king from h6 to h1 to clear the way, because white promotes here with check. And yes, that's already more than enough for white to win the game here. White simply captures the pawn here with the queen, takes on f6, and since this is a knight's pawn, it's just technically one for the white player. I'm not going to play this out in every last detail here, but maybe black still has a few tricks up their sleeve. We play f6 here, it's captured, h6. And yes, okay, if black doesn't move to h1 here, that's fine. That's just how it is. But black might think, okay, I'll push with f5 and just advance the pawn further. Then as the white player, we say, okay, we push h7 further, and after f4 and promoting to a queen on h8, we'll see after f3 why it actually wasn't so smart to move the king to, or it wouldn't have been so smart to move the king to e2. We placed him on e1 because otherwise there would have been a check here. And yes, then black would also have been able to promote a pawn. This way, black is one move too late. The two pawns may look somewhat dangerous, but we can neutralize that pretty quickly by playing queen to a8. Now black is in Zugzwang. At some point, he has to move the king somehow, break the defense, and then it gets captured. And even if here g2 is played now, a bit of technique is definitely required in this position. And yes, exactly, white can, in fact, force black here to no longer be able to adequately defend the pawn on the board. Now, at this point, I have to check what comes here next. Let me think for a moment. That's not it. Here we play queen to d1 and have a pretty nice mate threat. After king to f1, we have checkmate here. And just a little reminder from me, click the link in the video description or in the pinned comment to watch the latest videos of the most beautiful problems of all time, now also dubbed in your language on my main channel. I'd be happy if you come over. It's best to do that now, and then I'll see you again in the next video.